So people who struggle with childhood emotional neglect were not raised by their parents. They were only housed and fed by their parents. This is how they describe their experience growing up with their parents. And the reason is because if the parents don't attune to their feelings, to their emotions, then it's just going to leave the child feeling like they've never existed. And if you never overcome childhood emotional neglect, you will always struggle with that feeling of emptiness inside of you. So listen closely.
I think we all have the point. Everyone just tries to like.
So how did I come across this topic of childhood emotional neglect? Well, I kind of grew up in this household myself where my parents, yes, they were there for me on a material level. They sort of raised me in their own way, but they were not really there emotionally, right? I grew up with Asian parents that were workaholics, that were sort of the perfectionist workaholic parents that, always were striving to achieve more and, just always were working. And when they came back from home, we weren't really talking very much. We'd go back, at the dining table, we just watched the TV. We always watched the TV and we just never talked for some reason. Or if we talked, it was about like just surface things. So like, oh, so how was school, right? The typical question. And then you tell them, oh yeah, it was fun. Oh, it was shitty, whatever. And that was the extent of our conversations. And it was pretty sad because my parents, especially my dad, my mom as well, but especially my dad, he didn't have this attunement to other people's emotions. And I remember one time when I was a teenager, I cried for some reason. I was very sad about something, just like an argument I was having with him. And then he accused me that because I was crying, that I was being manipulative to try to get his pity or something like that. That by me crying, it was just me being manipulative to manipulate him into doing what I want, which is completely absurd. Like you tell that to your child who's like powerless and that needs help, and you go tell that he's being manipulative. That's really thought about this, and it's just because he grew up in a very turbulent time, during like the Khmer Rouge War in Cambodia, the genocide and all that. He had to escape. Was incredibly. I'll do a separate video on that. So that's why he grew up sort of maybe damaged emotionally, and he sort of put that baggage on me. So yeah, this is how I came across the childhood emotional neglect. Growing up, I never knew why I felt like this weird sense of loneliness sometimes, or this weird void that's unexplainable. So this is why I came across this topic. So of course, as a disclaimer, I'm not a mental health practitioner by any means. So if you need help overcoming psychological traumas and things of the sort, make sure you speak to a mental health practitioner, because I am not a mental health practitioner. So how does childhood emotional neglect feel? How does it feel? Why does it feel so bad? Well, basically, childhood emotional neglect is basically you don't know how you feel, you don't know who you are, and it's just kind of this whole mess of confusion because you don't know why you don't know how you feel, and you don't know why you don't know who you are, right? And the reason why is because when you grew up, when you're neglected emotionally, then your parents never attuned to your emotions, so you never learn how to self-regulate your own emotions. So that sort of makes you feel leaves you sort of feeling damaged in a way, or feel like there's something wrong about you, or there's not necessarily something wrong about you, right? You feel like this emptiness, this hollowness for no reason, and there's no explanation to it. It's just there, right? This weird sense of numbness, aloneness, loneliness, right? And why you don't feel, and also why you feel like you don't know who you are is because growing up, because your parents don't attune to your emotional needs or attune to your needs specifically, then you don't learn how to recognize your own needs. When you do have certain needs, when you do have certain things that you want, you are unable to reach out for these things. And the worst part of all is people who struggle with childhood emotional neglect don't even know that it's happening most of the time. It's like this invisible force, this invisible thing that is happening, and it's without even them knowing. And on the outside, everything looks fine, right? They're maybe they grew up with their parents who were rich and they gave them everything. They bought them a PS5, they bought them a PC, they helped them, with their life or whatever they wanted to buy. They would buy it for them, but it's just there was something lacking emotionally. There was this sort of lack of closeness with their parents, lack of relatability with their parents, this sort of distance, right? So that's what it is. And what are certain signs that you could be struggling through that? So one of them is that you're a people pleaser, right? It's a huge sign that you could be suffering from childhood emotional neglect. Why? Because when you're a people pleaser, you see other people's needs as higher than your own needs. You see your parents' needs as more important than your own needs. You see your roommates' needs as more important than your own needs, or your friends' needs more important than your own needs. And that creates a huge problem because you see other people's needs as more important, your own needs are neglected. So it's a form of self-neglect. And the second sign that you might have suffered from childhood emotional neglect is that you have trouble understanding your own emotions. As simple as that. If you have trouble sort of naming your own emotions or recognizing your own emotions and not knowing why you're feeling a certain way or why you're feeling worthless and you're feeling sad for no reason, that could be a sign that you're also struggling through childhood emotional neglect. Before you dive into this video and apply the tips that I'm going to tell you here on how to overcome childhood emotional neglect, make sure you are certain that you're actually going through that, right? One of the best ways is you talk to a mental health practitioner, or you just look at the 10 signs. I'm gonna put a video at the end that you can watch about, the 10 signs that you're neglected emotionally in childhood, right? But after that, here are the ways to overcome childhood emotional neglect. So the number one way to overcome childhood emotional neglect is very simple. You notice your emotions. You track your emotions, you notice your emotions, and you accept your emotions, right? As simple as that. So if you have a hard time with that, if you have a certain feeling right now in your chest, maybe you're feeling a bit empty or you're feeling a bit sad, just notice it and tell to yourself, oh, I'm feeling sad right now. I'm feeling empty right now. I'm feeling lonely right now. I'm feeling strange right now. I'm feeling happy right now. I'm feeling excited about this right now. I'm feeling like joyful, right? So for example, me right now, I'm feeling kind of tired shooting this video. I'm feeling a bit worn out because it's been, a few days in a row with not that great sleep. So I'm feeling a bit worn out. I'm feeling like I don't really want to shoot this video, but now that I notice that, now that I notice that I'm feeling positive about shooting this video because, I've began and I'm on a roll. So that's how I feel right now as I'm talking to you on this camera, and so you just do something like that. And however you feel afterwards, just say, it's okay. So for example, I'm feeling sad right now, I'm feeling empty, and that's okay. I'm feeling angry at this person, I'm feeling angry at this situation, and it's okay. I'm feeling shit right now, I'm feeling numb right now, and it's okay. And it's not just saying the words, you have to feel like inside of you like, okay, I'm feeling this emotion and everything's fine. It's fine. But like you have to genuinely feel like, as if when you say it's okay, imagine like someone's giving you like an imaginary hug as you say it's okay. Like that emotion is okay. Like you're fine there's no shame in having this emotion. That's what I mean when you say it's okay. So try to feel that as you practice this. The number 2 way to overcome childhood emotional neglect is to recognize your own needs. Recognize your own needs. Look at your needs right now. Okay, look at your needs. Look at what you truly need in your life right now. Okay, so as simple as that. If you don't know what your needs are, start with a simple question and ask yourself, what do I want out of life? What do I want in my life? What do I need in my life, right? Kind of variations of these questions. I just want to dig in and look at what you want. So for example, me, what do I truly need in my life is I need time and energy to pursue my passions. I need time and energy to pursue this YouTube channel and shoot videos for you guys and, evolve my brand, evolve my business. I need time and energy to do all these things. I also need alone time so I can actually do these things, right? And not be distracted by some random ass thing like a cat, jumping on top of me or whatever, right? I need this time. Also, what I need is I need love, I need companionship, which is why I decided to get into a relationship, because I realized this was a very important need that I neglected. Also, I need to feel confident. I need to feel happy about myself. I need to feel proud of myself. I also need time for relaxation. I need to, in the evening, just to watch a film or, just enjoy and play the guitar and do nothing, or just loaf on the couch. In the evening, I need to do that. I need this time to recharge so I can get back into work the next day with energy. I need all of this time, right? I need all of these things. So recognize your needs and ask yourself, what do you truly want? Right? And if you have to make a list of these things. But first you have to recognize these things, and these things might seem simple, right? But I can't count how many people I've talked to on these calls, on the calls. They say like, dude, they're struggling with this person being toxic and that person, not helping them, and they don't know like where they want to go with their life, and they feel empty, they feel depressed. They say, I've been feeling depressed for years. I don't know, what the fuck do I do, John? What the fuck do I do? Then I ask them this, well, let's begin by looking at your life, okay? And tell me, so do you feel like you found your purpose in life? Do you feel like you found something to strive towards? And do you feel like you know who you are, you know what you want? And pretty much the vast majority of them say they don't know who they are and they don't know what they want. I think it's madness, because this is where you should start. This is where your self-development journey begins. So start with that. The number 3 way to deal with childhood emotional neglect is to set strong boundaries for your needs. Simple as that. First, you have to recognize your needs, right? But once you have your needs, you have to create the walls, that sort of your castle around your needs, so that they are protected. So you have to enforce these boundaries, and you have to say no to the people who are trying to step on top of your needs, trying to make your life worse, trying to, limit your life in whatever negative way possible. You have to say no to these people, and you have to say yes to your own needs, right? And how do you do that, right? I have a video, probably going to be in the series in the end, on how to set boundaries with toxic people. Okay, but you want to basically to say no. You have to recognize exactly what your needs are, and it has to be so crystal clear. Okay, it's not like, oh, I need free time, it's somewhat in the evening but if Stacy needs my time for me to help her out with to clean up her room, I'm gonna do it. No, fuck that. You have to be clear, like, okay, I need this amount of free time every single day. I need at least free time after 6 p.m. You don't fucking bother me after 6 p.m. Whatever that is, okay, you have to be clear in your mind. Clear in your mind. So after you have this clarity, it'll be much easier to enforce. And you just enforce the boundary. So you have to know that. And saying no at the beginning is going to be hard. I understand, because if I say no to my parents, they're going to kick me out of the house. Or if I say no to Stacy, then she's no longer want to hang out with me. Or whatever excuse you have, or whatever worries you have to start saying no gradually but surely. Okay, let's start saying no whenever you can. For the simple things. So start with the little things at first, and then progress to bigger and bigger things, right? And setting boundaries really has to come with developing self-esteem, right? Because if you were to value your own needs, and if you were to value your own right to exist and your own right to have your own needs, then you wouldn't let anyone step on top of them if you truly valued these, right? And you have to assert your right to exist. You have to realize that your needs are no less important than other people's needs. Your needs are incredibly important, and you have to value them even more than other people's needs, right? And now you might think that, well, this is selfish. Other people's needs are also important. My grandmother, you know, she's gonna die of cancer if I don't do anything. I need to help her out too. And right? Yes, I understand. Okay, other people's needs are important, but how can you help others if you cannot help yourself? If you cannot take care of yourself first, if you cannot help yourself first, how can you take care of other people? It makes absolutely no sense. So keep that in mind. And the fourth way to overcome childhood emotional neglect is to learn to self-soothe. It's to learn to love yourself. It's to learn to be kind to yourself and, you know, respect yourself and take care of yourself, right? You know, that this might sound super cliche and super simple, but you know, when was the last time you actually, you know, sat down with yourself and, you know, you gave yourself a treat and you rewarded yourself with like, you know what, I deserve this because I've worked hard, and you were nice to yourself for a day, right? You know, if you don't struggle with childhood emotional neglect, I'm guessing, you know, you're probably okay with doing that, right? But for the rest of the people who are watching this video, I'm guessing it's probably a bit harder to do something like that, right? To be nice to yourself. Well, why is that? Well, why it's hard to be nice to yourself is because maybe for the longest of time, you thought that you don't deserve that love. Or maybe you thought that you don't deserve to be respected, or you don't deserve, you know, to be taken care of. So maybe that's why you neglect yourself and you don't take care of yourself, because, for example, me, I had a huge trouble with that, where I'd always think, well, I have to be working, I have to be taking action, otherwise, you know, my day is ruined and I'm a piece of shit, right? And, you know, sometimes if I don't work, I feel like I'm wasting my time. I feel like I'm worthless. I feel like, damn it, like I should be moving forward, right? And because of this constant need for workaholism that was sort of preached in my family, now I feel like I'm lacking if I don't take action, right? And because of that, it was just very hard for me to self-soothe and like in the evening just wind down and be like, you know what? I deserve to play video games tonight. You know, I've worked hard, or, you know, I've worked a little, but I haven't worked enough. Damn it. I feel bad playing video games now. And I have like this sort of guilt around self-soothing, which is the strangest of things, but you have to practice it. You have to be okay with, you know what? Today is a day I'm going to be nice to myself. Okay. I'm going to read a book, right? I'm going to go for a walk, and, you know, take care of myself. Maybe I'm gonna buy a piece of candy, I don't know, right? So not only is that, you know, in the sense of taking a break, but also you have to take care of your own body, as in, do you exercise? Do you sleep well? Do you give yourself the time to sleep well and sleep in when you need to? You know, maybe on a Sunday you sleep in a little bit and nothing wrong with that. Do you give yourself permission, you know, to have these nice things in your life, you know, to take care of yourself? And do you eat well? You know, stop eating junk food and should I start like getting a nice diet to yourself, and like taking care of your body and listening to your body, like, oh, well, my body, you know, I'm feeling shitty because I've ate this burger. It's probably time that I eat some salad, or that I eat some healthier diet, like, I don't know, the ketogenic diet, whatever. And you look at all of these things and look at ways how you can improve yourself, take care of yourself. That is how you self-soothe. So those are the ways that you can overcome childhood emotional neglect. And, you know, when you struggle with childhood emotional neglect, it's very common that you no longer know who you are, you no longer know what you want, and you sort of have this trouble with finding that purpose, that mission you want to strive towards. Why? Because you have all these obligations piled on top of you, of your parents, or you feel like you should live up to that expectation, or you feel like maybe you should be doing this, or maybe you shouldn't be taking care of yourself, you should be taking care of that person or whatever. And because of all these confusing things thrown at you, you can no longer center yourself in yourself. And if you need help to find that purpose again, you can book a free consultation call with me, link in the description below. And if you like this video about how to overcome childhood emotional neglect, you're gonna love this video here about the 10 signs of childhood emotional neglect. So I'll see you there. Maybe you're one of those people that just, you feel kind of numb and empty and you don't really know why. You go about your life, things are just the same and you don't feel much, you don't feel anything. Here's why.